Okay, we're
Thank
recording.
you.
All right, no problem. So we'll start with this creating the vision piece. So if you don't have a vision board, I really do highly recommend it to you. You can see Laura's vision board right behind her there. And
My big old diamond.
okay, so you know she's got that's kind of her full vision for the future, and it usually is you know, it could be 2 or 3 years into the future that she wants to be achieving all of those things or living her life in that way. And there's all kinds of ways to do vision boarding, and we're not going to take time to talk about that today because that's a whole different, that's another conversation. But one of the things that I will tell you is that, and I should have brought it down here with me, I didn't think to do that, but I have had a vision board for many years, and when my very first vision board that I had a picture on it of the house that I now live in, and it was in my vision. But when I achieved that, when we bought this house, I didn't even realize that it was the house on my vision board until my daughter looked up at my vision board and she said, "Mom, that's the house that you just bought." And I went, "Oh my goodness." So the reason I bring that up is that our vision is really powerful. And if we look at our vision every single day when we have a vision board, we have it in a place like Laura does, where she's going to see that vision board every single day. And Laura, I hope that you take time to actually look at it every day. Do you?
Well, I do look at it every day, but I have not, and this is something that I've heard to do, and I'm thinking of doing this now, is that you should look at it for like 2 to 3 minutes every day, and that I haven't done, but I do see it every time I pass and I look at it and I think about it, but I have not sat and studied it, and I think that's one of the things that
I do. I will tell you that when I created my vision by getting this house, that I didn't think that it was going to come in the order that it came in. I thought I was going to have doTERRA success in a large way before I had the house, and it turned out that the house came first. So, you know, sometimes we have an idea in our mind, but it may not be what actually manifests. And so looking at it and actually speaking your positive affirmations to your vision board is something that you really, and Laura, I've learned that it's important to actually do it more than once a day.
Oh, okay.
When I first had that very first vision board that I did, I had a secondary vision board in my bathroom. I didn't have only the one in my office because I wanted to be sure that even if I didn't go in my office on the weekend, I was still looking at my vision board. So I had a second one. It wasn't exactly the same, but it did have the major components on it. It was smaller. And I did find, you know, I'm living proof that envisioning really does work. That's not the only thing that I envisioned that came true. That's just the biggest one. So then first you have that vision that you create. Then you have objectives, long-term kinds of your 1-year plan. What is it that you're going to do within this next year? So you break down that big vision into a smaller chunk. And then from that, you come up with your short-term direction, which is maybe your 90-day goals. Within your 90-day goals, then you hit your monthly goals, the things that you really feel that you can achieve in a 30-day period. So, of course, that's the section that we're going to concentrate on today. But you can see that there are some other things that you might want to go back and do after we create some of these 30-day goals, just so that you can really get to that place of success that you're looking for. After we create those goals, then we want to be sure that we're doing a weekly report and review. So that's something that you can do personally, but you can also do with someone that you're meeting with. So in this case, it would be Laura. So you make a weekly commitment to yourself with some accountability to Laura, to do certain things on a weekly basis. So that now you're breaking down those 30-day goals into smaller pieces. And so we'll take a look at that. And then I think one of the really important things that I believe many people just skip this piece is your planning in solitude, and that's setting daily intention. So that means that every day you sit down, and I feel like you should do it first thing in the morning. I do it as part of my daily routine. I do it before I work out in the morning. So I sit down and I plan for what I expect the day to bring. Some days there may not be a lot of things, and other days may be packed full. And I just use a little, I have lots of my pages right here. I have a journal that I use, and in my journal I have my creating a vision sheet that I've created, and then I have some my strengths. I revisit my strengths every single day, and then I have so I have in here, it's called the perfect business partner for me is someone who is. So this is what what things that I'd be looking for, qualities that I'd be looking for in someone else. So these are all things that are related to my doTERRA business. And then I have a planning sheet that's called the Daily Waterfall, and it's just my 90-day targets. And within that, then I go to my daily planning, and I have a daily planning sheet that says what is my intention for today, and where was I uncomfortable yesterday, and then a to-do list. So I've broken it down into something really simple that works really well for me. But you can use anything. It doesn't have to be something so structured as this. What it does for me is that every day when I sit down and I do my planning, I have a very clear picture of where I want to go that day. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go there, but it means that I do have a plan, and it really does help me set my intention for the day. At the end of the day, I feel that that's the time for me, and you'll have to evaluate for yourself. But I feel that the end of the day is a really good time to sit down and take 2 or 3 minutes, it doesn't have to be longer than that, to evaluate what happened today and to show gratitude for the things in your life that you're grateful for. I have found in my life that the more gratitude we show, the more things show up for us. So that it's not fake or phony. We're not saying things, we're saying it to the universe. We're saying it to the divine, whatever it is, we're saying it to someone else that's, maybe that we are associating with, a friend or a family member. We don't just keep it inside. We actually speak it, or we write it. It doesn't have to be spoken. Writing is very powerful as well. Depends on what medium works for you. But that gratitude piece, I feel, is like super, super important. So this is just a basic overview. To talk about the principles of goal setting. So your goals need to be achievable. They need to be realistic, and they need to be challenging. So if you, I'm trying to think of an example of something that, let's say that you have a 30-day goal. I can't even think of an example. Can then somebody think of an example of something that, let's just take a real goal. Who has a goal that you'd like to kind of take apart a little bit?
Elaine, do you have one? Because I think you were working on them.
Well, an example, like Margie is saying, it has to be achievable. I could say, I'm going to be a chief diamond by in 2 months. Well, that's probably not realistic.
Right.
It's definitely challenging, and it may be achievable, but probably not very realistic. But if I were, to set my goal a little lower, short term, then it's achievable, realistic. but also challenging.
Right.
Want it to be set high enough to.
Yeah, you don't want to dumb yourself down. You don't want to choose something that you know you can achieve easily. You want to be a little bit challenging, but not so challenging that it would be very hard for you to achieve it. Because you don't want to.
So like one enrollment in a month
Mm-hmm.
is definitely achievable, but it's not really that challenging.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Now, 7 enrollments in a month is definitely achievable, and it's a little bit more challenging.
Right.
And it's still realistic.
And it's still realistic because you had 14 in 1 month, or
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
even more.
So I have this little mantra that I like to say, and it's set a goal, get a goal, because it really is about, if you set a goal, then you put everything in place for you to be successful, right? And then you will get a goal. So it's just a little mantra that I like to use when people are talking about goal setting. So that's just one of my little things that I use myself. So when you're setting goals, it's super important that you actually write them down. And when you write them down, you also have to create action steps for achieving that goal. So that's one of the pieces that I think a lot of us skip, because we know what our goals are. We'll jot something down, but it's the creating the action steps that oftentimes don't happen. And then the next piece is super important, is that you want to set a timeline for realistic completion of that goal. So you really have to think about this, right? It's not something that you do haphazardly. Oh, it's pie in the sky. I want to get 7 enrollments in this month, but I don't have any classes planned. So how in the world are 7 enrollments going to show up? If you don't have a class planned, or an event that you're going to, or, networking opportunities that are coming along, or whatever. It's just not realistic if you set a goal for 7 enrollments, but you have nothing planned that's going to get you there. And then you need to do that review and the weekly check-in with whoever you're working with. So in this case, it would be Laura. So those are the steps. It's pretty simple when you break it down that way. And so now let's take some time to come up with some of those realistic goals. And I've just given us a little bit of jumping off point here with rank. And I said at the end of February, but obviously we're in the middle of February already. So it's not necessarily, it depends on where you are in your business plan, what it is you're planning to do, maybe over the next, maybe it's 30 days from today, not, when we plan goals in doTERRA, we have to look at them as a 30-day month, right? Because every month we start over. So every month we're then, trying to get to whatever rank that it is we're working towards. And so, Laura, why don't you start by saying what rank you hope to be by the end of this month?
I hope that I am at Premier. I am looking for 5 personal enrollment, and then also helping you guys with at least 5,000 volume that will make my Premier.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So as Laura said, we kind of have to back into this, right? So you can do it either from top to bottom or bottom to top. It doesn't really matter. You have to decide where you want to begin in setting those 30-day goals. I just picked, choosing your rank first, just because, that kind of sets everything else, what you have to do underneath that to achieve that. But you could also do it the other way around. You could say, well, I'm going to have this many classes and it's going to bring in that many enrollments. That's the other thing that I almost forgot to say, is that when you set these goals, you can actually set specific goals for specific events. So if you have 3 classes scheduled for this month, and you say, to achieve the rank or the number of enrollments or the volume that you want to achieve for that month, whatever your goal set is, you say, I'm going to have 3 classes, and at each of those classes, I'm going to have 3 enrollments. Let's pick something super realistic, right? 3 enrollments. And so if that's all you have for the month, then you're saying that you should have, let's say, 9 or 10 enrollments for the month. So that would be a reasonable way to look at it. You also have to look at who is your population for each of those classes. So if one of those classes is going to be bigger than the others, then you might kind of mess with your criteria. I expect to have 15 people at this class that I'm having on the 20th, and I should be able to get at least 8 enrollments out of that class of 15. And maybe this other class is a small class, there's only going to be 5 people there. Well, then you say, I'm going to get 3 enrollments out of that class. So you really want to be very specific about your goal setting. So let's see, Elaine, do you want to tell me and it might not be for February because we're midway through the month.
Right.
But, maybe give me some ideas of the goals that you would like to set.
So by the end of March,
Okay.
I want to be at Elite.
Okay.
How many enrollments do I want for the month of March? I want to do 10.
Okay.
And I want to not just be at 3,000, but 3,500 just to be
okay.
Solid. So then I guess working backwards, how many meetings or how many events? If I were to do at least 1 class a week and 2 one-to-ones, I would think that would be achievable.
Okay. Okay. That sounds like a really good plan.
1 class per week, and how many one-to-ones?
At least 2 per week.
Okay. All right. That's good. Chris, what about you? You have some ideas about some goals?
This is all new to me, so.
Okay. That's fine. All right. So, and you can work with Laura to really get some things set. But, if you just look at maybe, and I know that you had your first enrollment and that's super exciting. So that's, you might look at getting at least 1 more, or I know you have a couple of other events scheduled for this month, right?
Well, I'm right in the process of moving, hiring. So, and I've got, grandchild on the way. So my focus has kind of been, not on this. So maybe my goal is to try to do something with the doTERRA every day. I just don't feel like I know enough about the business model, the company, the products. It's all new to me.
Okay. All right. Well,
we can spend more time on that if you would like. Christina postponed her class, so I think I'm going to do a class on the 24th.
Okay.
You're going to come though, Christina?
Yeah, it depends on what time you're having it. We did.
Okay, so you'll have to tell me, because I'm actually doing the class for you to be able to see another class. So I would want you to be there. So we can make it, you can tell me what time works for you, and I can see if we can do it
earlier, because I have an evening thing going.
Okay, well, we could talk about it offline.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So, and then I just want to be sure that you know that Laura and I are here for you guys. We want to support you in any way we can, and we don't want to scare you by doing any of these things. We just want to help you to be successful. So, you know, Elaine, you have a great plan in mind. I think, you know, your goal of elite and the $3,500 volume is awesome, and that is a really good way of looking at it. So I think you've got a very good plan. And Christina, I think that, you know, you will set your goals as time goes by, and you'll figure out what's going to be best. And Laura's going to just help you with that. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to support you. And we just know, I mean, I'm very clear that setting goals is what puts us in a place of being able to achieve them. If we don't set any goals, then what are we trying to achieve? So that's just a really important piece of the puzzle. And it's fun too, right? I mean, it's great fun to set a goal and then get a goal. It's great fun to have that happen. And everybody is going to, you know, we will celebrate with you. You know, whenever you meet a goal, then that's awesome. And we just love that part of it, right? It's really fun to celebrate with you about your achievements. So.
And here's the thing is, I mean, you're helping people, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is really about helping people, giving them natural solutions that they can use to, you know, better their life by not putting things in their body that are toxic. So, and, you know, for you, Christina, you know, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, we can help you as much. You just have to decide, you know, what you want to do as far as the business goes.
Right.
We can set goals around that. But ultimately it's your business, and whatever you're going to want to get out of it is going to be based on what you put into it, really. I mean, we're here to support you, and, you know, we can give you the information about the company and stuff. And, but at the end of the day, it'll just be based on what you decide you want to do as far as how much time you want to put into it. But you have to realize that as much as you put into it, that's what you'll get out of it, I guess.
And that's why the goal setting is so important, because if you have, you know, whatever your goals are, it doesn't really matter. It, you know, setting goals for yourself in whatever makes sense for you to not cause you stress. I mean, the whole point of setting goals is to help you achieve them. So it's not about causing any kind of stress. And when you find that you've got, you know, a lot on your plate, then you reevaluate. And that's one of the things that's really important. Even within that 30-day goal setting, you may have to adjust those goals, right? I mean, you may not, something may happen, and your attention may be taken away from, you know, those particular set of goals, and then you have to kind of readjust. And that's fine. And doing that on a weekly basis is great. And so if you have calls set up with Laura on a weekly basis, that's really great, because then you're going to be accountable to her. I mean, you tell her that you're going to do something, and it has nothing to do with what Laura and I think. It has to do with what you guys want to achieve. And that's really what Laura was saying. We just want to set you up for success in whatever way you want that success. And whatever timeline you have is also fine, because it's only about you, you know. And I know, Christina, you're planning to move, and you know, you've got a lot on your plate right now, but I think it's really wonderful that you got started with this in thinking about it before you move, so that you can get everything in line. And then when you get to your new home, you can just get started. You don't then have to mess around, you know, trying to figure out what's next. So I think that's really good. Do you guys have some questions? Okay, well, this basically was just, you know, to try to get you to think about setting these goals. And I know that Elaine, you and Laura had talked about, you setting some goals. And I think that that's really the only way to achieve in this business is really to have those goals set. And sometimes, we won't hit those markers that we're looking for, and other times we'll surpass them. If you do surpass your goals often, then you're not setting them high enough, right?
And even if you get close, I mean, look how much. So let's say if you have your 10 and you make 8 is wonderful too. So, sure. I mean, if you didn't have that goal, you might have only gotten 2 or 3 because you weren't working towards something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shoot for the moon, but if you get to the stars,
Right. And I totally agree with you. And I think this is just a framework to help you be successful. I do think that it's important to think about that overreaching. And for you too, Christina, I think it's important for you to think about what your vision would be for like the next year, especially when you're coming up on some big changes in your life. It's a good idea to think about what your life is going to look like a year from now, and then 2 years from now, and maybe even 3 years from now. Some people have a hard time envisioning that far out, but and like Elaine, like you said, saying you're going to be diamond in 2 months is not realistic, but saying that you're going to be elite and then working towards premier and then working towards silver, those are all more realistic goals, and you have to achieve all of those things to eventually get to diamond.
Right.
So keeping your vision that way, and like Laura said, she has diamond on her vision board. I have diamond on my vision board too. That's a longer term goal. And it takes this kind of work and this relationship building to get yourself to that place.
And actually around my diamond, I have silver, gold, and platinum.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, for working towards all those goals. And something that I talked to Elaine about, Christina, and especially I think this is going to work good for you. I mean, because you're going to have to get out of your warm market, right? Your family and friends and all of that. And, moving to a new place, getting involved in, like a HeartLink type of thing, right? Or getting involved in networking groups where, you're going to meet so many people in your new place, so you're going to be making friends, as well as those people are also going to be, possible customers and business partners, people that will end up selling under you.
And also referral sources, right?
Referral sources, right. Yeah.
So, and that's really important. So and that's going to help. That's going to just help you in general, right? You want to build your markets, and the best way to do that is get involved in some kind of networking opportunities. And
multiple, I would say, yes. At least 2 to 3 groups is really good, because you're going to want to have multiple, different series of people. And if you don't want to do classes, that's fine. I mean, you could build a business on one-to-ones.
Absolutely.
It's just going to take you more time, right? Because if you have a class, you can have 7 to 10 people in one swoop, whereas you'd have to set aside 7 to 10 different hours for one-to-ones. So, it just kind of depends.
I also think when you've got people that are warm and interested in natural solutions, having a class is often very powerful, because you're sharing information that all the people are interested in. So right. When you're in a one-to-one, you have the possibility of one enrollment, right? But in a class setting, there's an energetic that happens that you build a little bit more likelihood of multiple people enrolling, because you're sharing information and people are getting excited.
Yeah, and then
I know 2 to 3 months out of the year I'll be traveling, so I'm not going to be able to commit to like a BNI or some of these networking groups that you have to be committed to. But yeah, I'm going to join some women's group in the chamber, but again, I'm going to be traveling in our RV, at least 2 to 3 months out of the year.
But you're going to meet a lot of people while you're traveling. I mean, if you have your oils with you, you can, when you meet people and if they ask
that's cool. I liked having a banner out, I have that oil, for that and the whole thing that we were talking about. So yeah, I definitely want to do that. I'm not really sure if, for me, I'm retiring, so I don't really, I don't know if I want to build a whole new career. So ranking and all that just, it's not, in my interest level right now. I don't know. I might change. I might get really, really bored with retirement, but I don't know. But it's just I want to learn. I'm intrigued. I like the product. The company seems good. So I want to take my time getting to know the company and the process and learning more about the oils. So that's exciting.
Well, and I think just your personal use and testimonials, it gets people interested. So then it's just a matter of what you do with that, so it doesn't need to take lots of time. And once you're really comfortable with the product, then obviously it's super easy to talk about it. But even at this point, it probably should be easy to talk about it just because you're using the product. And that's one of the things that I think it's just a matter of not being afraid to say to somebody, someone will ask you a question. I know on airplanes all the time, people ask me questions because they see what I'm doing. I'm putting on guard. I'm doing something because I want to stay healthy. And so almost every time on an airplane, when I open a bottle of On Guard, somebody asks me what that is. And it just gives you an opportunity to talk about what you're doing. And that's all you need is that kind of opportunity is, a reason to talk about what you're doing. So that's one of the things. And, my husband is always amazed because I'm a very introverted person. And so, but you get me talking about oils and that introversion just disappears, because it's like I'm so passionate about it and so excited about sharing with others, people that are interested. I don't want to share it with people that aren't interested. But if someone is bold enough to ask me a question, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Man, they're going to get an earful.
And I think just to give you an example, like I'm going on my dive trip, I bring my oils with me and I bring them on the dive boat and I have them with me wherever I go and I pull them out all the time. And, I had a lot of people and a lot of interest when I was on my last dive trip and helped people. And that just alone gets them talking. And then eventually, that will lead to additional sales and stuff. So, it's just about you being a user and just doing what you do and just sharing it. I mean, because really that's all we're doing is sharing.
Yeah. And this conversation about setting goals. Obviously setting goals is important, but don't get us wrong. We are here to help people. That's what we want to do. And Elaine, I remember you saying, I just want to help people. That is really the impetus behind this, is that you want to share the benefits you're seeing, you want to share with others, right? I mean, that's what this is all about. And Christina, I'm retired too. So I get that. I mean,
Me too.
This is our retirement job. This is
be retired.
Come on, Laura, get with it.
Yeah. Come on, Laura, join us.
I would love to, believe me.
I know. It's just not possible yet for you. But you're young. You're very young. So you
don't say that. That means I got like 20 more. No. I'm going to be diamond and I'm not going to have to work. And then I can.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, you got to make a living. So you have to put it all in perspective. But, I'm old. And so, for me, this is a great job for me to do because I've built my whole business model around being able to travel and being able to be gone for periods of time and still can do my business,
It's good to know. Really good to know.
Yeah. So it's very portable. as long as you have people to talk to and you want to share with others about your lifestyle, then you're going to be successful.
Even Brandy says so, if you heard
Even
her.
Brandy says so. She agrees too.
I mean, because all you need is your computer.
Right.
Yeah, and internet.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you know, I can enroll anyone anywhere.
Right. And that's one of the big benefits to me is that, you know,
Elaine was away and she enrolled.
Yeah. You can do it on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little difficult,
So
but you can do it.
it's really easy to do this business. It's so because it is just part of our lifestyle. And so just sharing with people that you come in contact with. And
okay. Oh, good. That's encouraging.
The oils speak for themselves, you know. All somebody has to do is try something and they'll understand.
They actually sell themselves, actually.
Yeah, they do.
Right. And Elaine has said that many times, right?
Yep, it's true. It's true. Just get a little sample in their hand and that's it. Or, you know, mention this or that'll help. Yesterday I was in the bank closing my account that I used to use for my direct deposit, my payroll deposit. And I don't have that, so I don't need it anymore. So I went to the bank, and the lady that was helping me to close my account, she was asking me, well, what do you do now if you're retired? And so I told her, oh, I love lavender. My friend gives me lavender. So I pulled out a sample and gave it to her. And then out of the blue, she shares with me, well, do you have anything for scarring? Because I just got a tummy tuck, and I want to put something on the scar when I get the stitches out. I'm like, okay, little TMI, but okay, yeah, I did. So I took her card, and she said she's going to call me, but I grabbed her card at the last minute, and
perfect.
There we go. I can make her a little. There is a scarring, you know, recipe, so I can make her a little mini roller ball and
very cool.
get it in her hands and
right.
Yeah, so
I mean, every opportunity, right? I mean, you just never know. People are always looking for ways to support their body.
Yeah.
I was in Mother's one day, and I was going to the bathroom, and in Mother's you have to go up these stairs, and there was a lady coming down at the same time I was, and she had knee problems and she was having issues, and so I stopped and said, you know, can I help you? And she's like, no, I'm all right. And I said, well, what's going on with your knee? And I gave her a sample of Deep Blue right there. Now, I followed up with her, and it turned out that she didn't want it and whatever. But the point was, there was an opportunity, and I had a sample with me. So you always want to have samples with you. And because you never know, somebody, like I was in a networking group the other day, and somebody had a headache, and I had peppermint and helped them get rid of a headache, and somebody else wanted to. So, and then all of a sudden the conversation became about me and my oils.
Right.
Where everybody was there. And that day happened to be, there was a lady from a senior care center there called Cresta Avia. And she came up to me afterward and said, I think we could do some stuff together. I just sent her an email because we're going to set up some classes there, I think. I'm going to do
great idea.
touch hand massages there for her residents as a give back to the community, which will in turn will make people feel good, and they will want them, and hopefully they will ask for them. So, you know, we may do some talks on aging. So you just never know. So you always want to be in a position. Oh, and then I was in a networking group yesterday. I was at HeartLink, Christina, and I got there late. I didn't have a chance to network. And I was there, and I wasn't feeling well, so I was just kind of in the corner. And some lady who I did not know came up to me, and she said, do you have eucalyptus? And I said, no. And then I thought I should probably ask her why, because maybe I have something in my bag. And I was like, well, why do you want it? And she said, well, I can't breathe. I said, well, I have breathe, so why don't you try that? And so she did that. And at the end of the meeting, she gave me a testimonial.
Wow,
very cool. People that weren't there because I took because I had oils with me, and then I didn't stop when I said no, I don't have the one. I was like, well, what is she trying to accomplish? And maybe I have something, because I carry around 10 oils with me, and I was able to help her. And then she doesn't even belong to the group; she was actually visiting. But there were like 5 or 6 new people that I had never met before, and she gave me a testimonial. So that was awesome. And people will remember that. So my only point is that you just never know when the opportunity is going to come up, and what you think might not be anything, which I didn't give it a second of thought. Like, she gave me a testimonial, and I wouldn't have had a testimonial yesterday without
That's amazing.
that.
That's great.
You know?
Yeah. And those are, my husband Marty talks about sales cycles. Oils can be a long sales cycle. You might introduce the concept to someone just through a organic conversation, and it may be months before they need something, but they'll think about you. They'll think, next time I see her, I'm going to ask her about a solution for this particular situation. So it doesn't always. So you just have to be open to the possibilities, really.
So I have another story about that, if I can share.
Sure.
So I have a couple of friends. One of my friends, Nancy, she actually is a user, and she uses them a lot, and she takes them on trips. I have another friend, Sue, who I've known for a long time too, and she's never really been interested in my oils. Okay, so Sue and Nancy happened to be on a dive trip, and Sue had some sort of problem, and Nancy gave her lavender. She loved the lavender. And then she came home, and she ended up having a ski accident where she ended up having a major problem with her knee. All she had was lavender, and she started putting like a lot of lavender on her knee. It made a huge difference from her. So she started calling me for lavender. But she was using lavender for everything. Now, she's not a member. I charge her retail, and, but the other day she called me and she said, you had this breathe easy, breathe something on the dive trip that we used before we dove to open up our airways. I think I need that. And I just dropped the bottle off to her. I mean, she's still not a member. I charged her retail, so I get 25%, between the cost of the wholesale and the retail, and I'll take that. But eventually she went from not being interested into the oils to being a lavender fanatic. She thinks lavender will solve every problem. To like, okay, well, maybe there's some other oil. And then she liked the breathe. So now she's using lavender and she's using breathe. And at some point she's going to use something else. And at some point I'm going to get her to be a member. But that's a very long sales cycle. But if you just meet people where they are and just service them however they want to be serviced. And I think you just have to always have oils with you. Right. And you always have to be willing to share. And I think that's the big thing, is you have to be willing to open up your mouth and share.
Right. And that's really it.
That's it.
That's the key, right?
Yep. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good stories, and I think that is really puts it all in perspective, because we are doing this because we want to help people. Do we also want to make some money? Sure, we do. There are why not? Why not? Why not do it to make some money? So it is, because it is such a portable business. It's just such a fun thing to do. So.
And you're helping people. You're making a difference. I mean, that's the thing that you need to remember. You're making a difference in people's lives. Right. Truly.
Right.
And you have
now Sue has 2 of the oils that would be in all kits, So, she's working towards that. It may be slow, but maybe DigestZen's going to be the next one, or On Guard, something like that. She's going to do. So.
Right.
All right.
And if not, I'll continue to sell her retail, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to be, a wholesale customer, and that's fine. But Christina, if you want, we can talk more about the company. There's also a lot of information, like we talked about, on the website under company. doTERRA.com has all the information about the company, but we can certainly at our next, call can talk about that.
Yeah, I think that should just be more of a realistic goal for me right now, right during this couple months, is just to learn more about the company, the oils,
My
you on your presentations. I think that's, and I do want to get my Facebook page up.
I just want to tell you my one concern about is if you keep pushing off doing the class or one-to-ones with the people that you know, and with me there, I think you're going to get to Arizona and then you're not going to have that base of confidence that you can do it because you haven't done it here.
Right.
And I just want you to think about that as you're postponing this class, and you know, we're trying to figure out when we could do it in March, and I just want to make sure that when you go to Arizona, you feel like you can have those conversations.
Yeah, I should take advantage of it. I should.
So just think about it.
Okay, well, thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. Thanks, Laura.
Remember the set a goal, get a goal thing, because it's a little mantra that you can easily say, and just, you know, maybe say it every single day so that you get in the pattern of, you know, working towards your goals.
Elaine, I'll call you so we can set up a weekly, because I know we want to do that. So I'll call you and I want to hear how your seminar went. It sounded like it was great. And then Christina, I'm going to call you and see if we can set up some time to maybe, even if we do it over the phone on Zoom, I can go over, like you do a call like this, even if this way we can maybe make it more convenient. If we both don't have to leave, we can fit it in somewhere to where we can, you know, go over more of the company stuff. And I'm going to need you to tell me where you feel like you need more support so that I focus on those things for you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.